And we are back on a Monday.
Welcome back to the New Leaf News presents the Legends Clubhouse. I am Bobby Kaboose. In this yellow crusty ass shirt is my boy Lawson Turner. What's going on, man?
What's wrong with yellow?
It sucks.
Is that like your least favorite color on the spectrum?
Close to, but it's
You know what's
it's all
also
right.
real quick. You know what's interesting? How come every time it just whenever you're talking to whenever you're first talking to somebody, like, oh, what's your favorite color? How come nobody asks what's your least favorite color? Like there's an ass load of shitty colors.
Because no one cares about you. Like that's like saying what food do you fucking hate so I can make it for you. Like why would you?
I don't
You
fucking
know.
know.
People like favorites, not least favorites. It's like,
That's a good
oh, my
point.
least favorite color is yellow. Okay, I'm gonna get you something bright ass yellow thing for your birthday. Like, there's
I mean, or uh, to bring it up in your example, what's your least favorite color to not get you something fucking yellow?
yeah. I mean, I guess so. Like in my household growing up, man, we would always, when we played board games and stuff,
Yeah.
we'd always make my mom be yellow because no one wanted to ever be yellow. So she would always be yellow, and she would always lose. So like yellow, like to me, yellow just seemed,
It's
when
just
when
synonymous with
you see
losing.
yellow, it's like you're a loser. So
Nice. So, don't worry, guys. I'll be loser for today. It's all good.
yeah, it's all right. I mean, look at that flag behind you. I mean, everyone knew.
The thing is magnificent.
Yeah, they're magnificent in the playoffs as well, right?
Every year, we're always there.
Yeah, but you always lose. Um. Anyway, it
Yeah.
is a Monday. We had a show on a Saturday this week, or last week, and so
Mm.
we've only not seen each other for 2 days. What happened in those 2 days? So many things. Yesterday was a big day. Of course, it's the first day of Pride Month.
Whoop
We were
whoop.
supposed to have like a drum roll and a whole promo and or a pyro and shit like going off, and but I guess no one got the cue.
Smoke going
Um,
off. Little
yeah,
fireworks.
music. Raining Men by uh, the Weatherman or whatever. Whatever. So um, but also yesterday was I officially turned 37 and 11/12. So happy early birthday to me. Um, you know,
There's no way
11/12, man. 11/12.
we're counting ever. I mean, to be fair, I think when I asked a couple weeks ago when you first started bringing up the, you know, uh, however old and however many months, I'm like, who the fuck does that? And you're like, well, if you ask a 6-year-old, I
Yeah.
I'm fucking 6 and 8, 12 and 8 months, and I'm like, oh, you fucking nut.
Well, and it's funny you say 6-year-old and say 8 months because uh, a 6-year-old wouldn't know the lowest common denominator, so they wouldn't say 3/4. So I'm glad, or yeah, 3/4. Let me think. Math. No, 2/3.
Is the math
No,
mathing?
wait. Yeah, 2/3. 2/3.
Right.
So they wouldn't say I'm 6 and 2/3. So you are correct on that. So that was a good little
Yeah.
factoid and tidbit in there.
I mean, it's Monday. You
But
gotta
yeah,
be sharp.
I am. Yes, I am 37 and 11/12. Celebrated yesterday with a few different shots. I was playing an emo version of myself yesterday. Um, we were either gonna name him. My emo name is either going to be Aiden or Dylan. Not sure which one yet.
Now I'm just curious, like, what was the spiel on it? Like, as an alter ego when you or
Oh, so I got this fucking hair, right?
yeah.
So, right, so this is my emo side when I just have it, like this. And so I was
Is it
sitting there
kind of?
like this,
Is it?
and then I would
Yeah.
like people were saying I wasn't depressed enough, so I just got like
Yeah. Do you remember a couple years
Let me,
ago
let
when
me, let me just. Oh, I just can't.
oh
Oh, I hate life. You guys are
oh
such fascists. I don't want to get up for school, Ma. I just want to skateboard and smoke cigarettes with my friends.
do you
Uh,
remember do you remember
that's the emo side.
do you remember a couple years ago when Jimmy Butler showed up for media
Yeah,
day with the
yeah,
emo Jimmy look? That shit
yes,
was so funny.
yeah,
with
yes, I do.
with his
I
fucking
do
hair
remember that.
straightened this way, a fucking fake piercing here and on his eyebrow.
Yeah, his hair fucking had like it. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?"
I fucking loved emo Jimmy. That shit was awesome. That shit was so funny.
But yeah, I was emo yesterday.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jimmy or Jimmy's in general, right? Little Jimmy's best friend. Did you see this?
Oh no.
Did you see little
Yeah.
Jimmy's best friend?
Yeah, I saw it.
Ronald Killings, our truth,
Yeah, he got released.
said that he was released. So, have you paid attention to this at all?
I saw some people were saying that his contract just wasn't going to be renewed, and
Right,
then he tweeted out saying that he was released. So
right,
I'm seeing in quotations by that sentence conflicting reports that they're not renewing his contract and he is released. So I don't know if it was he wasn't gonna his contract wasn't gonna get renewed anyways. No, and he may have only had a couple weeks or a month left, so they're just gonna take him off TV.
right. So the thing that has me questioning this,
Yeah,
right, is WWE's Twitter has not said anything. So I'm wondering if it's a work, because he gets defeated by his childhood hero, right,
right.
John Cena, and so happens to be his last match,
Mm,
and he was just on TV on Friday, and
yeah,
then gets released on Sunday, which or gets released yesterday. But what if he just put that out because our Truth's character as far as being like somewhat of a dumbass, respectively. Like I love his character, but like that's what his character is, right?
yeah.
Um, and he plays it fucking phenomenally, and he's entertaining as hell. And
Mm,
he's actually like when he's on the screen, I like make sure I'm paying attention because it's usually funny shit.
right.
Um, so what if he put this message out and it's complete bullshit and it's just a work, and he ends up like helping Cena beat somebody in the future
I could
because
see
it's not like he's on the TV weekly anyway.
right. That's a great point. That would be a shock to everybody because due to the outcry of like a lot of the wrestlers that are still there, like the Miz and damn near everybody that ever had any kind of storyline with them are coming out the woodworks and saying, thank you for the time that we
Yeah.
spent. No one made me laugh in the back more. Just all like the good times coming back out. So it's
I
like
mean,
good.
what if he came back,
Mm,
helps Cena, and becomes like a heel like him? Like where it's like,
that'd be so
I was
freaking
goofy as
funny.
shit with, like for you all for years, and you thought I was this dumb and all this shit, and just like,
That would be
turns ultimate
so
heel,
funny.
and
That'd be
I think
hilarious.
I think it could happen.
I
I just find it weird that WWE didn't put anything out.
Yeah, they which maybe they didn't put anything out due to his contract's gonna run out, and they're gonna put
Right.
something out when his contract runs out, as opposed to when he's in quotations released. I think I sent you a tweet yesterday that someone posted saying if I was AEW, I would just sign him to a contract, and I would just have him in the background of every promo and just not say anything, and then just start interacting with like the old WWE guys, like, dude, where you been?
Yeah.
That shit would be
Yeah.
so damn funny, just in the background of a random promo, and everyone's like,
100%.
"Bro, what is he doing here?" And then
Yes.
and then once again, the camera zooms in on him in the back, then he just walks off, and everyone's like, "Well, what the hell was that?"
Right. Or he's just like looking around like kind of like lost.
kind of just looking for people or looking for like
Yeah.
he's looking for the locker room and he's got his shit just looking around and then just
Right.
cuts right down the hallway.
Yeah, and then he just like leaves the arena
Yeah,
or something, like just walks out the door.
just
Like,
something goofy.
yeah,
Yeah, that would.
yeah, that would be fucking hilarious. But who knows, man? Like I just feel like it's weird timing.
Yeah.
Because he literally was on TV on Friday.
Mm,
Um, and to they because people first were speculating that he was going to have like somewhat of a farewell tour or whatever, and like then people were like, oh well, his shirt makes sense now, with him putting Ron Cena on there
yeah.
and shit like that. I'm like, I don't know, man. I
Something
feel like there's something bigger
something so
that's gonna come.
sudden like this is kind of just and like you said, he was just on TV Friday. Is it Money in the Bank this weekend?
Yes, yeah,
Could you see him popping up at Money in the Bank and saving the tag match?
maybe. Maybe. I think it would be a little too soon. I think
Yeah,
if they would do something
it'd
like
be
that,
later
because
down the line when it's out of people's minds.
yeah, yeah, and he would come back and he was like, well, my hero wanted to ruin wrestling, so I'm gonna do what my hero wants, type thing,
Right.
just like I think that would be a kind of a cool angle.
Mm,
And two, the people that are coming out, like Kevin Owens had a big tweet and stuff.
mm.
They could all be behind it, and it could be like one of the greatest works, like like going back to like Mark Henry, like turning on Cena when he said he was
When he was,
retiring, and
yeah,
he was like, "Daddy's coming home," and then he just fucking power slams him and shit.
I remember.
Or
I rem-
Styles one recently.
Yeah, I remember watching this shit live. It was so funny because all I remember is Mark Henry in that big ass pink suit, and
Yeah.
and everyone's fucking clapping. Everyone in the
Mhm.
arena is chanting like thank you Mark and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Cena comes out and raises his arms, and then fucking Mark Henry world's strongest slams. I'm like, damn dude, that shit was crazy.
Yeah. Was Cena out there the entire time, or did he come out there?
I think he came out there.
Okay, because whether he was there the whole time or he came out there, I was like, this is kind of weird for someone else to be out here. Like, I'm like,
That
I
was
don't
my
think
thought
this
process,
is
but
gonna be
yeah.
his. And that shit was awesome.
I was gonna say because once again, when I was fucking like 13 when it was happening, my dumbass wasn't thinking 18 steps ahead. So I'm like, oh, this is dope. They got the champ out there because Mark Henry was never the WWE or champion. So
Mhm.
fucking just having him hoist the belt and all that shit, and then he turns up, and then he in quotations turns on Cena. I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I
everyone's got a turn on Cena.
Yeah, I remember when bro had like the Hall of Pain going on. He
Yep.
was fucking up everybody. This was awesome.
Dude, it's weird, man, because like you'll like guys like Mark Henry or like Edge and stuff like that. Like I grew up with them like be like with their debuts and being like mid carders and stuff. So it was
Yeah,
always weird to see them like as like world champions and stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, that's interesting to see where their career.
yeah.
I was never a fan of Edge.
hmm
Mark Henry, okay,
It,
I could take him or leave him, but
going back
he's a
to
good monster heel.
the mid Carter for whatever, I saw a tweet the other day that kind of just popped in my head. Out of I was out of wrestling when this was going on, but when LA Knight was beefing with Roman Reigns,
Hmm.
the clip resurfaced of when Roman Reigns was coming out and hoisting the title, and then LA Knight interrupted him and got the one of the biggest pops damn near ever, and everyone
Yeah,
was like, "We thought they were gonna shove him to the moon," and now he's stuck as a mid Carter.
yeah. I think it was the SummerSlam in Detroit a couple years ago.
hmm
That I think it was Roman versus Jay. For the title for maybe for the first time or maybe for the second time
Yeah,
or something. But around then I remember being like, LA Knight should be having this title match at SummerSlam, and he should be the one that takes the nut belt off of Roman.
yeah.
Because he was getting fucking huge pops everywhere, and that
hmm
would have boosted his fucking career. And you know, I think it would have made a much better story than our uh, American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, which, I was thinking about this shit, man. Like, imagine if, like, New Leaf is able to take off the way we would love it to take off, and I get a chance to meet these guys. At some point, I'd be like, am I gonna be like Cody Rhodes? I fucking hate you.
Well,
I
no.
would have to. I would have to probably be like, hey man, like, I appreciate you entertaining me, but you're not my favorite wrestler.
you, you couldn't just say, "Hey, dog, I appreciate your work. By the way, I don't like you."
Right. I mean, do I say that or do I just keep my feelings to myself?
I mean, if you're that close, you might as well just keep your shit to yourself before you fucking crossroads your ass. That's so
I don't
funny.
know if they would appreciate that though. Like if you were like completely honest with them, just been like, look, man, like,
I think
I
I think
appreciate you entertaining us, but you're not my favorite wrestler.
I don't think I've ever seen like a fan interaction of it. It's just like, yeah, dude, I I appreciate your work. I don't like you as a character.
I'm sure you're great as a person, but I just don't like your
I think your
character.
character fucking blows.
I mean, we were at a Monday Night Raw a couple years ago,
Mm.
and we were fourth row camera side. All right,
Ooh, sweet.
so we were sitting there, and like I don't know if you've ever been to a Monday Night Raw,
No.
but
Well, it's been
when they
on.
go to
Yeah.
when they go to a commercial break, they'll dim the lights red
Mm.
so that it's at commercial, and everyone kind of calms down a little bit, and sometimes the wrestlers in the ring or whatever. Well, Bianca Belair had just come out, and they go to commercial, and everyone's cheering for her and shit. And we go to commercial, and like the crowd kind of settles down. And as soon as the crowd starts settling down, everyone starts sitting down. Like you could pretty much hear like not a pin drop, but like it got quieter.
Mm.
And I stood up when everyone was sitting down. I stood up and I was like, Bianca! And she looks right at me, dude. And I go, you suck. And she just fucking smiled and winked at me. And I was just like,
That's the part of being a fan is so awesome to just not shoot the shit, but just the interactions and stuff like that, and
right,
like you'll see so many videos of like people chanting stuff to wrestlers, or like when a match will go outside the ring and someone's down and they're up against the barricade, and like they'll just turn around and like say something stupid to they'll say something small that only that one person would hear.
right.
Just little tidbits and stuff like that. That's what makes the sports entertainment world awesome.
Right, and it was funny because like she was, I mean she still gets big pops, but like she was like at the time like one of the top
Mm-hmm.
women in the division, and like everyone just like overly fucking rooting for her and shit, and applauding her and cheering for her when she comes out, and then she gets that. It's just funny, but like I made sure to say it like in like she knew,
A
I
playful,
wasn't like personal attack. Like I was like, you suck,
yeah,
and she, but and also we got the Street Profits. What's his name? Angelo Dawkins.
yeah.
They're in a tag match, and he's on the apron, close to us, and me and my buddy are like, Dawkins, and he looks back, and we're like, you look like DeMarcus Cousins, and he's like, what? And we're like, you look like Boogie Cousins, and he just started busting out laughing, dude. It
Dude,
was fucking hilarious.
I I love those fucking when they're on the apron and you can just talk in quotations talk shit. I love seeing those clips. I remember
Mhm.
there was a legendary clip on a house show. It was Undertaker and whoever, but Undertaker's wants a hot tag. He runs up and down the apron,
He fucking
with the water bottle. Yeah,
yeah.
he takes a water bottle, uncaps it, shakes it on his fucking head, runs all the way up the apron, runs all the way back down, stomp, stomp, stomp on the fucking
Yeah.
stairs. You know,
Or
the
or when Jericho, the dude was like, he's like, go back to Toronto
yeah,
or
I'm from
whatever. And he's like,
Winnipeg.
I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
I fucking those clips where it's the crowd talking shit and they respond. This shit's awesome. I remember
Oh, no.
during I think it was like Extreme Rules 2010. It was like Batista and Cena in like a last man standing match. All you hear is some little kid, I hate you, Batista. Batista goes, I hate you too. Or go ahead.
Did you see I think it was on I don't know if it was on uh Saturday main event Saturday night last week or on like Raw or SmackDown when
No.
Cena was there. But as soon as Cena comes out, he's got no lights on his shit anymore. It's all black. But he looks over the side and you can tell he's reading the sign. Well, there's a picture of where a picture came out of what he was reading, and
Yeah.
the sign said John Cena eats corn on the cob the other way or the
Uh,
long way.
it's so funny because I don't know if you know this that original sign. There's a picture of like in the '90s when Goldberg was on Raw, and
Mhm.
someone had it on the sign Goldberg eats corn the long way.
Yeah, it must have been the early 2000s
that
because yeah, Goldberg came I think in like 2002 or
oh
2003 into WWE.
it you could tell it was an older picture because
Yeah, yeah, no, I got you. Dude,
yeah
it's crazy if you go and watch those Attitude Era Raws or like shortly after, like how many like signs are in the crowd. Like almost
dude
everyone brought a
there's
fucking sign. And
for
sometimes
real
I watch those shows just to try to read as many signs. It's Pride Month, so back then you would if you watch one of these, you are going to see a sign that says so and so is gay in every crowd. You know,
yeah that's just
Edit wrestler is gay
yeah
and
that's just
happy Pride.
that's just the way it was, back then and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And um, another great example is to, you know, wrestlers in the audience talking shit back and forth. I remember there was a Raw. Orton was wrestling Daniel Bryan, and it was like a
I
no
hate
DQ. Huh?
I hate Daniel Bryan.
It was a no DQ match, and Daniel Bryan's going out of the ring, and Orton hits him with a kendo stick, and all you hear is the fan yell, "Ring the bell, ref!" And then Orton says, "Are you kidding me? It's no DQ." Then smacks the kendo stick on the fucking side, and he said, "There's no bell to ring." And then he drops the kendo stick, and you know how Orton does like the belly to back drop on the table.
Yeah.
He fucking throws Daniel Bryan's arm around him and then points at the fence and says, "You did this," and then just fucking drops him on his fucking head on the fucking announce table.
Dude, if I was a wrestler, I would be doing shit like that all the time.
It
Like just being
was,
like, "You did this. You are responsible for
dude,
this."
it was so funny because you know how Orton's got like that little raspy voice, so
Yeah.
he's like, "There's no bell to ring." And then he just fucking throws his arm over his shoulder and then just points at him. "You did this." Then just fucking drops him on his fucking head on the
Oh
announce table.
God.
It's such a
Too
funny
funny,
clip.
man.
It's
Too
such a
funny.
funny clip.
Oh, dude. So did you see this? Caitlin Clark's out for a little bit, right?
Yeah, wear a
Um,
quad. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you see the ticket prices from when she was going to play against the Chicago
Yeah.
Sky, right?
Yeah.
Versus not, and it was like it went from like $86
It's
to
like,
like $25.
dude, that is when it comes down to. That's when you can really tell like who's your draw and stuff like that.
100%, dude.
Yeah, it's really interesting too to see like I've read stuff where how will you know that you've in quotations make it in wrestling and stuff like that with that new show where it's like Undertaker, Bubba Ray
That
Dudley, and some
LFG.
whatever it's called, where
Yeah.
they're talking to them about whatever, and it's like, oh, well, they'll cancel a whole fan signing or whatever if Undertaker doesn't show up. That's how you know,
Mhm.
like you're the spiel, and
Right.
it's also really interesting when Caitlin Clark per se, because once again, not saying that no one was attending WNBA games a couple years ago. I mean, the Atlanta have the Atlanta
Yeah.
Dream, and damn near nobody was going anyways.
Yeah.
But it's it's kind of the same thing too in the NFL when like a quarterback is out. That's what I can like kind of, or when two sucky teams at the end of the year, like when
Hmm.
Carolina, when it was the Panthers and the Saints a couple years ago, you could get in for like $8 in like the cheap seats,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, the fucking food there costs more.
Right. Well, like, so I went to a when Detroit had the Shock, the
Yeah,
WNBA team back before they moved to. Did they? Are they the ones that moved to Atlanta?
maybe. I don't know.
They moved somewhere, either Oklahoma or Atlanta, or somewhere down south.
Yeah.
But anyway, they won when they won the championship back in 04, 05, somewhere in there,
Mhm.
03 maybe. Um, we went to game three, which I think at the time they only had best of three.
Mhm.
And we went to game three. There was like 12 of us. We went for free because they had the tickets on the McDonald's counter. So, you know,
To see how
we
it's grown is
this is
insane.
for the fucking championship, right?
Right.
So we got in for free. And so they've come a long way for even charging some money to get in.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so,
that's a
but
crazy story.
But the thing is, dude, like the Caitlin Clark effect is real,
Mhm.
and it's funny because like in general, I'm not making a fucking groundbreaking statement when I say this, but
Mhm.
women typically don't like other women, right? It's just nature and things like that. It is crazy to me the amount of jealousy and shit that goes on in the WNBA towards Caitlin Clark
I love
because
it.
he literally is like the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James, the insert fucking GOAT player here.
Right.
The only reason people watch this shit, honestly,
Mhm.
or I'll say 90% of the people, right?
Mhm.
Um, and they treat her like the other players treat her like absolute shit. It's
And
like imagine being a wrestler in the 80s and being like, no, fuck Hulk Hogan. Even though I'm gonna make a ton of money with him on the card,
yeah,
I fuck him. I don't know if he's gonna be there. I'm not going.
the
Okay, dude. Okay.
the amount of shit talking in quotations, because I remember last year, like Diana Taurasi was like, oh well, she's gonna be in for a semi rude awakening due to dealing
Yeah.
with physicality and stuff like that, and I'm like, we gonna see. And then within the first
Right.
couple weeks, it was a bad game here, solid game here, hard fouls here, 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 and I'm like, damn, these women are beating the shit out of her.
Right, man.
The that's such a funny story how y'all went to like the deciding game for free because it was on
Dude.
the.
Dude, we had such a blast, man. There was a chick named Ruth Riley,
Mm,
and we kept chanting, "The Ruth, the Ruth, the Ruth is on fire!"
that's so
Like people
fun.
were just like, and like I said, we had like 12 of us, so it'd make like enough noise, but like no one else would fucking chime in.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
we also we also like they had Cheryl Ford. I think she's like Carl Malone's daughter or something. So we'd be like, "Let's go, male girl."
Yeah, just whatever you
Just
can to yeah.
yes, and like, dude, people would just be staring at us. I remember, like, because we may have had a couple drinks, on, maybe underage. I'm not, maybe I don't know, but well, I remember fucking getting up, dude, and trying to like kind of pump up the crowd, and I went like this, and like, dude, not even knowing, like, I fucking hit the person next to me in the face on accident. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, dude.
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
I did. The person that was next to me, we were not with, so I did definitely have to apologize. But the Shock ended up winning, and that was the year that Bill Lambier was the coach, and he basically at the beginning of the year he was like, "I guarantee a championship," and they won.
It's
I'm
awesome.
like, jeez, man.
It's
Um,
awesome.
but no, the going back to modern the W, don't they call it the W? Um,
The W.
but dude. it's just amazing to me that like these players, like it's literally like you are making a name off of Caitlin Clark,
Mm-hmm.
and it's I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying anything that's not fucking true. Look at the fucking numbers, dude. Like look at that
Right.
ticket price. You drop fucking 75%. Like, no one's going. I'm sorry, Angel Reese, but no one's going to see you. Like, it's
Right.
just fact.
The
You know.
I saw an interesting tweet that kind of went semi-viral over the weekend. So the Knicks lost to the Pacers,
Mhm.
Eastern Conference Finals. Someone tweeted out, it was like New York still hasn't won a professional championship since whenever the fuck, right? New York, meaning like the Jets, the Giants, and all that shit, right?
Oh, like 2009, I think, or something, because the Yankees or
Yeah, whatever.
Giants.
And then a girl commented, "The New York Liberty just won the WNBA Finals last year. Like basketball's a major sport, and the amount of once again it's the internet, so everyone's giving her shit like the WNBA is not a real fucking league and all that bullshit." And I'm just
Oh,
like, damn, dude, she's right, and all y'all are a bunch of fucking goobers, dude.
that's what I'm saying. No one, like, I'm sorry, but no one really pays attention. Like, I think what could actually, like, the MLB is helping a pro softball league start up.
Hmm.
And it starts, I think, at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's
I think
like,
that I think that has a better chance to get way better numbers
mm,
than the WNBA. Because I feel like college softball, I feel like that does well. It's always on ESPN on the weekends and
it's.
stuff.
Mhm.
I feel like that does good as far as ratings and people actually watch that shit.
It's awesome you brought up softball because I was literally so I'm pro once again. I'm pro sports ball stick puck, don't care. I'm watching it. It's entertaining, awesome. Over because it's the college baseball playoffs, and all that jazz, and vice
Mm,
versa. It's also the women's softball playoff and all that stuff. And for years, like baseball's my dad's favorite sport, so we would always, watch what if it was on, like women's softball and stuff like that. And over, like come playoff time, I'm like, oh, it's also softball time, and they're all on ESPN. So I was watching the Oregon. I think they were playing Oklahoma last night. I think it was the last night
mm,
or the night before. Um, and I was just thinking about it, just popped in. I was like, wait a minute, whatever happens to these women after like softball? Because
right.
a lot of girls, they'll grow up. Oh, I'll play softball, and then you go to college, play softball. So I shot him a text, and I was like, oh, hey, just curious, what happens to these women after like their softball career is over in college? Is there like a professional
Mm.
league? And it's funny you brought up the professional league because I looked it up, and there is one, and there's like 8 teams, and it starts. I think you're right at the end of next month or something.
June 25th or something, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's the 25th of June. It might be
Hmm.
25th of July, but I thought it was this month.
Yeah, and there's
Um,
like eight. I think there's 8 to 10 teams, like all across the country, stuff like that. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome because I'm so pro women's sports because just more sports in general. Now, once again, the equal pay is when we'll kind of start to get a little funky, but just the opportunity is excellent and awesome because once again, back in like the early 2000s, it's like, oh, girls are playing sports, bro. Like it was kind of not frowned upon, but no one's rushing to their TV for unless it's the Olympics for like figure skating or other stuff like that.
See, I'm pro women's sports as well, but you're never gonna convince me to watch the WNBA unless I'm watching fucking Caitlin Clark.
Mm.
Uh, the problem with the WNBA, I think, is that it just can't live up to the standards of the NBA.
A
They're
hundred
just,
percent.
it's not an entertaining game to watch. It's you have people, women that are 6'3" and under. Not that I want to see like gigantic women out there, but like
Yeah,
it's like you're not dunking, you don't have the explosiveness, you don't have the go to the rim. You're basically watching an average high school men's basketball game at this point
that's
with,
fair.
no NBA college prospects. Like
Mm.
I know they score a little bit more because they are professional athletes, but like you're getting blocked on layups. You're getting, Angel Reese putting up 5 shots to make one. Like, there's too much traffic down there because they can't create their own space
Mhm.
and stuff like that. It's a slower game. I think, whether it's softball is unique because we don't have men's softball. We don't have men's, well, they do have men's professional softball, but no one watches that. The fast pitch is nice change of pace for
Mhm.
the women's college. I think that's why it does well. Soccer, I think because the game between the men and women are similar. The men, obviously have a little bit more speed, but it's still entertaining. It's still like it's basketball's just different, man, because they can't get up to the rim. Like it's
Yeah.
never gonna be the same.
The
What was the other one you mentioned? Was there another major women's sport in there? The
Um, I said figure skating and Olympic sports. That is where like a lot of people will rush to the TV for. But once again, that's
right,
that's a once every 4 year product. Or like
yeah,
track and field, and if you want to count like MMA and boxing and stuff like that, then
hmm
to me, combat sports have their own like separate. That's a separate
right,
tab.
right. Or no, I was gonna mention. You didn't mention it, but I thought of it, but and it just popped in my mind.
Hmm.
Volleyball. You
There's a
know,
good one too. Yeah.
so I think those sports could do very well because um they don't have an opposition. They don't have something to compare it to, really. I
Hmm.
mean, soccer does, but the WNBA game and the NBA game are so drastically different as far as like entertainment value, and you're not gonna see a fucking crazy fucking alley oop or someone getting fucking dunked on. You don't see James crying because he just got dunked on in the NBA or WNBA. So
Yeah, I think
um
there's been 30 like four dunks in the history of the
yeah, but they're
NBA.
all like breakaway.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
all
like
breakaway
someone
slams.
fucking
Yeah, I'm agreeing with your point. Like the WNBA is, believe it or not, in my opinion, a lot of others, that it's more physical than the NBA due to they're vertically challenged per se, to where
Mhm.
they don't have like a 37-inch vertical jump to get up to the
Right.
rim. And I'm right there with you, to where, and there's a lot of stretches where it's just like funky reverse windmill layups, and just a lot
hmm
of chuck up shots underneath the rim. However, I think it is. I still think it's a good product. It's there. And I'm not saying that there's not certain blemishes on it, because there is. There's a lot of stretches where, like I said, it's just ugly basketball. However, um, when playoff time comes around, assuming I think the numbers, especially with Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and stuff like that, with the, in
hmm
quotations, next generation, because like Asia Wilson's a beast, and then you have the Liberty with Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. They're just gonna pile up and pile up and pile up. I feel also as if when the playoffs start, the numbers will rise, similar to how the NBA is. Because I think there's 36 games in a regular season for the NBA, 30-ish, I think.
You said NBA.
WNBA, the
There's
W.
82 in the NBA.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
fucking jack off.
Um, but no, like I
Yeah,
said, I just don't think so. Like I mean, I'm not gonna be watching. That doesn't mean that
yeah.
I am the whole
Anti
Nielsen family, but
the Nielsen
it's
family.
just I just don't think many people like the average person like is gonna watch it.
Yeah. The
It's just not
if you were
it.
to ask the average person to name four WNBA players, I bet you they would name Caitlin Clark. And that's it. And Angel Reese. That's it.
Yeah. And then probably like Rebecca Lobo or someone that hasn't been in the league for 20 years.
Or
Candace Parker.
Sue Bird.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
you know. But um Yeah, the I'm excited for the softball league though, man. I think that could
Hmm.
really take off, and I think that would actually get probably better ratings than a WNBA game,
I
to be honest with you.
I believe it too because the uniqueness of softball, kind of how like you brought up, there's nothing to compare it to because there's not a You said there's not a men's professional softball league.
There is, but they're like basically the only game you'll ever see on TV is like USA versus Canada on 4th of July.
Hmm.
And you have these dudes that just come up, they have a fucking home run limit because it's slow pitch softball. You can hit like 10 home runs and stuff or something per team. And like dudes will get pissed when they hit like a solo shot. Like, because they're that good. They're like, God damn it. Like, we wasted a home run, when there was nobody on base. So, like,
Yeah.
but I believe, like, because the score will be like 40-40 or some shit, at the end.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think there is, gets to a level where it's professional, but I don't know if it's televised anywhere,
Yeah.
anything. So, um, but it might be more of like a Harlem Globetrotter type thing. Those games aren't really televised,
Hmm.
and you know,
Kind of
they
like the
just
what the fuck is that one funky baseball league?
the banana Savannah bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
I see so many clips of like that team and banana ball or whatever it's called.
yeah,
That shit looks electric. It looks like there's the crowd is having such a damn good time because they're all
dude. I
fucking pumped up into it.
I knew I knew someone that could have played for them, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, it's not worth it."
It
He's
it
like, "Those guys, but it's not worth it."
it just looks like a good time.
Right, right. But so with the softball league too, you not only have because I feel like deep down people like baseball, but people think it's boring or too long or whatever. So with softball,
It's
they only play 7 innings. The
mm,
the pace goes quicker. Smaller field, compact. I think that's why it's gonna work. Like
mm,
I really do think it's gonna um, you know, as long as it's marketed well and they get some TV time and stuff, I think it will be a pretty good product.
I could see them on like whether it be ESPN2 or ESPN Plus at the very minimum, because
Yeah.
that's where a lot of the women's games are televised anyways on
Hmm.
ESPN Plus. Because like due to it being the men's, when I went to see who's playing in the tournament game tonight, there was like a men's game on ESPN, a softball game on ESPN2, and then I pulled up ESPN Plus, and there was like the other four games, and I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
awesome, yeah. I'm I am right there with you in there. If there's a market for it and it's done right, I think it could be a not extremely huge success to start because most leagues like this aren't. But I could see it really because there before this there's not really an out. There's not really like once you finish your college career softball wise, there's kind of nothing else there.
Yeah. Well, it's like too, again, they don't have anything compare to. So like it's like with the WNBA and the NBA, there's an obvious discretion of talent,
Right.
right? Like it's just a fact, right?
Mhm.
So, but like with the softball league, you don't have anything to like these girls. I feel like they are more talented in their respective sport
Yeah.
than
Due to the minor rule differences, the shorter field, the pitching angle, and like that's something I will never fucking understand. I could try pitching a softball for 100 years and still never get like dude. Yeah, 110% because I'm watching the game last night, and also as a fucking batter, it's like okay, is it sinking, rising? It's kind of like how in the MLB and baseball, how you'll have like the submarine pitchers. I
yeah.
don't fucking know if that shit's just gonna immediately die off or if it's gonna continue to raise.
And the pitching mound is so much closer
Yeah,
that these 60 70 mile per hour pitches are equivalent to like 100 mile per hour fastball,
yeah, they're
so
fucking zooming.
it is it will be interesting, especially because, like I said, I feel like the college game
Hmm.
gets good ratings because why would it be on ABC? Why would it be on ESPN all the time?
Yeah.
Like literally during the weekend, like it's like game after game after game after game all day.
Hmm.
So, um, I feel like this league could do that as long, if they get the same time slots and are able to market well, I think it could take off.
Hmm.
I just like I said, man, the W just it you know
It's not your
it
cup of
just
tea.
it doesn't appeal to everyone. Like it
Yeah.
just like and I don't know what it is, and I that's what I think it is. I think it's because the NBA is such a superior product when it comes to um just talent and entertainment.
Mm.
He's like, dude, like, okay, so like both of us are kind of degenerate gamblers, right? So, I'll gamble on fucking women's college basketball all the time, and when I can find the game on Hulu on the ESPN Pluses, I'll put them on because why not watch the game you got money on, right?
Yeah.
So, when I'm watching fucking Dartmouth versus Presbyterian Blue Hose or whatever they're fucking called, the Lady Blue Hose, um, dude, it's real ridiculous on, it's almost like 80% of the time down the court you find one girl fall on the ground. Like I'm like, what is going on here? Like they'll set a pick and
The
they'll trip, or they're like,
mm,
I'm like, or they'll kick the ball out of bounds or some shit. I'm like, you'll go, dude, you'll sometimes go fucking 8 minutes out of the 10-minute quarter without a fucking point being scored.
yeah, the
Like it's just like what am I watching here? I'm like it's almost like I just you can watch just to be entertained on how many missed shots they'll have in a row or how many turnovers they'll have in a row. Or you can take a shot every time, someone falls on the ground, you could be hammered by halftime.
I don't know if you saw this. There's a couple. I think there's like 5 or 6 guys, and every game they've bet on Angel Reese to miss her first shot,
Mm-hmm.
and they've gone like 1 in 6. Like out of the 6 games, she's made her first shot once, and they all fucking, yeah. And speaking of like the discrepancy in between like the teams, because once again, you are the man who once laid 80 points in
88.
88 points,
80.
which is fucking disgusting. The New
They won
York,
by 94.
even more disgusting. The New York Liberty were up, I think 57 in the fourth quarter of against the who they play yesterday. I think they played the expansion team, the Oregon. What the hell
They
is
have an
the name?
expansion team?
Yeah. Oh
All
no,
right.
no, they were playing the Connecticut Sun. They won 100-52, and they were up
Okay,
57 in the fourth.
why is Connecticut its team called the Sun? Like we have the Phoenix Suns. Like come up with something fucking new, dude.
The Golden State Valkyries, that is the expansion team. That's the new team that got introduced for this year. That's what it
All
was.
right.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to tune into one of their games.
Hey.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So you were saying they won by 57 yesterday.
Yeah, it's the once again the talent discrepancy when it comes down to like, your superior women and your talented women, it's like it's damn near just murder on TV.
It's even worse in college because like you get and here's a little betting advice for people. Um, when you have your top five teams, your South Carolinas, your UConns, your who else is up there?
U- USU might be up there next year with Juju Watkins.
UCLA, I think, is usually pretty good.
Hmm.
Your top five teams, right? When they're playing dog shit teams and they're giving up 40 fucking points, lay the 40. I know it's a scary number, but like UConn, you like there was one year in UConn, I believe they had like 10 or 11 people drafted. So you're saying they're starting five, right? Their fucking whole second string squad, and your Darko Milicic on the bench fucking are all better than most of the women in the country. So when they're taking their starters out, their backups are better than your goddamn starters. So if you're putting your backups in,
The Darko Milicic
you're not
shout out is
gonna fucking be able
crazy.
to compete, dude. So
Yeah.
you lay the points, The
Hmm.
bigger the spread, the more comfortable I am. I usually what I'll do is like now that live betting is a thing, uh, it's you can kind of gauge the momentum of the game, and
Hmm.
if UConn's blowing them out each quarter by 10, you can lay those points and feel
The
comfortable with it.
one of the one of my favorite bets that I've done like over the course of just this year. Um, I'll live bet certain like shitty teams unders. Like
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%.
one of my boys called me. It was the Brooklyn Nets. They were playing against whoever it was, and going into the fourth or midway through the third, they had like I don't know, like 53 points because
Mm-hmm.
everyone was fucking hurt. He called me and was like, "Hey, their live line is at like 88 and a half." And I'm like, "Fucking slam that under. I go under 85 and a half at a plus 210. They're not." And dude, we watched the rest of the game. They made I think they ended up scoring like 79 points. I'm like, "Holy shit, scoring 79 in an NBA game is insane."
Right nowadays, yeah,
dude,
100%.
dude, for real.
But yeah, I'll do the college women. I'll go
Mhm.
quarter by quarter, dude, and I'll go under, and just because they're so inconsistent, dude. Like especially with like shitty teams or not shitty. Well, yeah, shitty. Well, I'll just call them shitty teams. I don't fucking care. Yeah, shitty teams, dude. Like, yeah, and
Mhm.
then you just like I said, if you actually pay attention to these games and you watch them live, you're like, holy shit, dude. I think me and four of my boys could fucking if we were in shape we could fucking destroy these girls, you know?
The amount of ass kickings that end up being the final score in a lot of women's college games, like you'll see in NCAA football, like Georgia going up against Yale. Oh, that'll be 70-3 in three
Yeah,
quarters. It's damn near the same, if not worse.
yeah. Oh, dude, there'll be games like I think I took like a minus 40 or something for South Carolina, and I think they won by like 100.
That's just,
Like it,
it's ridiculous. It's
and the
ridiculous.
fact that they only play 10-minute quarters, a 40-minute game,
Yeah,
and
that shit's always been funky to me, considering that the men's college basketball. Can we just go to four quarters already?
no.
Like,
I don't mind the two halves. I don't mind the two halves.
I'm not saying that I mind it, but it's just like that's the difference. Like that's
It
the
is weird though because high school is four quarters as well.
right.
So it is weird to like go from, because usually you build up, right? Like
Mm,
to the pro standards, and this one's kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna do quarters. We're not gonna do 12-minute quarters. We're gonna do like 6 or 8-minute quarters or whatever they are in high school
mm.
and junior high. But then we're gonna go to two 20-minute halves, and then we're gonna go back to quarters if you make it, if you're good enough to make it. So it is weird that they kind of make that transition.
How they have it into like even with like with the because the women's do theirs in 10-minute quarters.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why don't not saying make it more like the women's game, but like everywhere else you're playing,
Everywhere
there's
else
fucking
playing there's
quarters.
fucking quarters.
Yeah, man. Just unique, dude. Unique.
It's,
Two halves. Two halves make a whole, Lawson. I don't know if you knew that. It's an old
fuck it.
saying that we used to say before you were alive.
Make it like NHL. Just do like 3 10-minute periods. Fuck it.
Or 20-minute periods.
But it's basketball. It's gotta be a little different.
I hate when basketball people call their quarters periods. I hate that's like a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, it's not a period, it's a fucking quarter.
Right.
There's
Like,
four.
does that actually
Just-
happen?
Happen.
yeah.
Would I be surprised the amount of people that have said,
Like
"Oh,
no, you'll like next, you might watch enough basketball, man. Like you'll hear it. You'll hear
uh,
it.
oh, this period is about to end."
Yeah. Or the end of the first period, and you're like, it's a fucking quarter.
They're not
It's a
playing on
fourth.
ice.
Yeah, they're
there's
not playing on that. What the hell are you do? They're playing on hardwood.
there's four. Yeah,
When does the NBA Finals start?
the NBA finals start June 5th.
So Thursday, I think.
Yeah,
Thursday.
they start June 5th Thursday. Stanley Cup starts the day before.
Yeah, so we got Pacers and Thunder.
Thunder will probably my before doing my deep analysis on New Leaf News for articles stuff like that. My immediate reaction is like when the Pacers were up 20 in the fourth. I'm like, Pacers are gonna get fucking their respectfully. They're gonna get their dicks beat it. Like
Yeah.
I think the Thunder like it's interesting because no one has been able to slow down the Pacers' pace. No pun
Mm-hmm.
intended. Like,
Uh,
e- even like make or miss, they're playing full court and they're pushing everything. And their off-ball movement, I said in the Eastern Conference review on New Leaf News, that it reminds me a lot of what Golden State has done forever. The off-ball movement is ridiculous. They're getting whatever matchup essentially whenever. Now, OKC is the best defensive team in the league. They are uniquely built to deal with fast wing guards. And for as awesome as Tyrese Halliburton was in games 4 and 6, it's gonna be a real tough series because Lou Dort's a different defender than like your OG Anunoby or your Mikal Bridges. He's not as
yeah.
like tall and long, but he's shorter, more stockier, lower center of gravity, really strong. So I think that at worst case scenario, Thunder in 5. I could honestly see this being a sweep.
Yeah, so you made it a bunch of good points, and I kind of agree with you. I'm gonna go with the Thunder in 5 as well because you have Tyrese Halliburton, right? But then who else do you got? You got Rick Smits, you got Jamal Tinsley, you got probably Jermaine O'Neal in there, and you probably got Metal World Peace or whoever whatever his name is now, Ron Artest. And then I think you probably got coming off the bench. Who do you got probably coming off the bench? Um, uh, I already said Rick Smith. So you got those starting five. Jeff Foster, maybe.
Reggie's
Jeff
not walking through the
Foster.
door.
Who? Reggie?
Reggie, yeah,
Oh yeah, he's
Reggie's not walking.
commentating. So maybe you get a big game from Jeff Foster. Because I know he had a big game against the Pistons 20 years ago. Um, Having like fucking like 20 points and 20 rebounds out of nowhere, and the guy averaged like 2 minutes a game during the regular season. But anyway, um, I digress. Those guys, are getting old. Tyrese Halliburton has to carry the load with all those generic, fucking old fucks walking through the door. So yeah, the Thunder are gonna kick some ass this series. So I got them in 5 as well. So it should
Oh,
be it
it
should be interesting if Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook decide to come back. I mean, I know Kendrick Perkins is too fat to come back, so I'm not gonna mention him. So, um, but
the
uh,
we didn't touch on Game 6 being the last NBA on TNT.
oh man, I didn't know that. Where are they moving?
So the NBA didn't renew their contract with TNT. They signed the new TV deal with, I think it's NBC, Amazon, and ESPN are like the three main broadcasters. And so
I
like
hate I hate streaming.
that ends the 36-year reign that TNT was with the NBA, which is
Crazy, man.
dude, it's crazy. And
That's almost as old as I am. Remember, I told you I'm 37 and 11/12.
and 11
So
twelfths.
I
The
would have been 1 and 11/12 when that started.
it's even more crazy because like inside the NBA, when Ernie, Shaq, Chuck, and Kenny, like
Mhm.
they've been together for so long, and I don't know if you've seen any of the clips, but Shaq, they gave everybody like 30 to 45 seconds, like at the end of the show, and er, Ernie did a beautiful like 2.5 minute monologue, saying that people are gonna go out to people are gonna go on to get other jobs, and they're gonna get those other jobs because on the resume it says on NBA on TNT, and it's it warms
Yeah.
your heart to see a lot of to hear all that stuff. And Shaq was fucking stupid. He said to whatever new network, because they are all gonna stay together. I thought they were gonna break it up because Ernie's been loyal to TNT. You know, that's where he's been. You know, his
Hmm.
entire broadcast career and stuff like that. Shaq said, whatever network we go to next, we're not going to f around. And then he stopped and said, you know what? It's the last show I'm gonna say it. We're not going to fuck around. And the whole fuck, because you know, they did that show live in Indiana. The whole fucking crowd exploded, yeah, and then, you know, they were all chanting TNT, TNT, because you know it's been
Yeah.
synonymous with NBA on TNT for longer than I fucking been alive, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
Like I
also
said, I was 1 in 11/12 when it happened.
it's
Um,
also crazy to see, like, you know, Craig Sager's had a lot of awesome moments when, you know, like, Kevin Garnett was telling him to burn his pink suit and all of that, and all just the awesome moments, you know. So
yeah.
it sucks that it's over, but it's awesome that, you know, them, the production team, and everyone's still gonna stay together under another network.
Right. Well, in I can't wait till in 36 years from now we can be sitting right here and be like, "Oh my God, it's our last show." On New Leaf News YouTube channel. But that's a long way away from now. So, until we get to that 36 year mark, um, go to check us out on newleafnews.com.network. Both will take you to the same great site. We have daily content, whether it's sports, entertainment, betting, politics, whatever your fancy, we got it. Podcasts. Speaking of podcasts, check out my podcast at 64-bit Legends, wherever you can get podcasts. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and so is New Leaf News. New Leaf News is on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, obviously YouTube. Subscribe, like, go follow us for our daily content. The Legends Clubhouse is always on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Sometimes we'll have different dates. We'll keep you posted if we have to, fill in on a Tuesday or a Saturday like we did last week. But 7:30 Eastern time, those 3 days for the most part. Follow me on X, Twitter, or that's the same thing. X, Twitter, Instagram. I said it again. At Bobby Caboose. This is at Lawson underscore 1222222222222222226. And I'm pretty sure those numbers have a significant date. So if you look that up, make sure that you're getting my man some Christmas presents / birthday presents. Make sure if you do get him a Christmas present versus a birthday present that they are in separate wrapping papers. You don't want fucking Merry Christmas wrapping paper for your birthday gift.
Very
So
confusing.
make sure you separate those. He will not open them if they are not separated. Um, he will burn them on camera live.
It's got a happy birthday over a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. So he will destroy your gift to him in front of you and break your goddamn heart.
It's
Um
funny.
Other than that, man, I think I covered everything. If
Yeah.
you want to take us out, thank you. Happy Monday.
As always, and I don't even know if you knew this. This was episode 22, so you know we're chugging. As always, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Legends Clubhouse for New Leaf News and the Legends Clubhouse. I'm Lawson Turner, and that's Bobby Caboose. We will see you guys Wednesday morning with the same shenanigans, and we hope you enjoy your Monday. Till next time, later.